Hello, everybody. Today I will be interviewing our founder of the Bodine Shakespeare Festival, Mr. Dennis Francis Aloysius Manion. So, why did you start the Shakespeare Festival?
Well, I started the Shakespeare Festival on somewhat of a whim. I arrived here as a new English teacher, and the principal of the school let me know that she wanted to have something different happening in the school and the English department. And having been involved in drama and theater in high school and in other schools that I worked in, and I thought, well, perhaps we could do a short play or something to that effect. And then I found out that there was a citywide Shakespeare Festival sponsored by the English-speaking union. Yeah. And I thought, well, let me think about this. And I thought I have a short run in my classes. And so we had this soliloquy contest Shakespeare's soliloquy contest in my classrooms. And the kids really enjoyed it. So I went from my classroom to the other English teachers. They liked the idea. So the whole thing just sort of blossomed. It took on a life of its own. And the next thing you know, we had the school involved, and it became a big event in the school. We had local TV coverage, and everybody seemed to enjoy this. We put Bodine on the map when it really wasn't known that the school even existed in many parts of the city. So it was great publicity for the school and the kids as well. And many of these students of mine were kind of urged to join this competition for some extra credit points because they needed those few extra points for the honor roll, or perhaps to pass, or some brownie points or something they could put down on their applications to different schools. So that was more or less the origin of this Shakespeare Festival.
How and why do you think that Shakespeare plays affect our lives today?
How do Shakespeare plays affect our lives today?
Yeah.
Well, Shakespeare and his plays have been affecting many lives over the last 400 years. So Shakespeare is life. Everything that's in Shakespeare is in our daily lives, and many students don't realize this until they have some contact with one of his plays.
Right. Do you think that the way that Shakespeare lived his life and how he wrote his plays correlate with how we live our lives?
Well, not much is really known about Shakespeare's life, believe it or not, having written all these plays, and most of how he lived his life is speculation. So what can I say? That certainly, people are people, and people have been people forever. So yes, of course.
Do you think that?
Yes, yeah. He is. Life in the Elizabethan period was probably a hell of a lot crazier than it is today. Whether we like to believe that or not,
definitely true.
It's true.
Do you think that the audience could relate to the characters in many different ways?
Well, that was the essence of the competition, was that the audience, they never believed that they could relate to Shakespeare in the way that they did. And the atmosphere of the competitions in the auditorium was the tension of a playoff game, a high school basketball playoff game, or even a National Football League kind of game. Kids were cheering for kids were cheering for Macbeth, or they were cheering for Hamlet or Falstaff, and they were cheering for their classmates. And it was something about where they all were cheering, and their parents were at this competition as well, the finale. So it was a big deal that these kids embraced Shakespeare, and they never thought or realized that they could.
Right. So why did you pick Shakespeare? Why not a different playwright or so?
Well, Shakespeare being the most notable, and the English-speaking Union of Philadelphia was sponsoring for the first time a citywide competition dealing with Shakespearean soliloquies And the first prize was the 2 weeks in England and at a Shakespeare conference, and $1,000. So I thought, well, that should sweeten the pot. That should bring some interest. And that's what I picked up on that. That there would be other competitions. It wouldn't just be within the school, that it would be citywide. Not just citywide, national. And if we want to carry on, international. So, and we're the international school, so why not? So here we are.
Did some of the students go beyond?
Well,
beyond state?
After all the work, hard work, and the competition was incredibly tough competition. There were 40 high schools involved at least every year in the entire Delaware Valley. So we're talking the top private schools, the best public schools, and selective drama schools were involved. So the competition was intense. We did manage a second place finish one year with a $500 prize. So that's
amazing.
But that's, yes. Plus we had in-house prizes for a couple $100 or dinners in restaurants and prizes like that.
Have you ever performed doing a Shakespeare play or soliloquy?
Have I ever performed? Yeah, I performed, not a soliloquy, yes. I've done this in other schools. I worked at Stetson Junior High School. We did Oliver there, Bye Bye Birdie. We had Romeo and Juliet type skits. At William Penn High School, I was involved as Lieutenant Shrank in West Side Story, and what can I tell you? Nothing dramatic.
Right.
Okay, nothing dramatic.
What is your favorite Shakespeare play and why?
Favorite. Let's see, favorite. I don't know. I think it's kind of a cliche about Romeo and Juliet, but it is so romantic, isn't it?
Yeah.
No. I like Romeo and Juliet. I'm old-fashioned.
I think that's one of my favorite plays.
Is that right? Good.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for any of the performers this year that are taking place?
Memorize your lines early, and then rehearse and practice as much and as often as you can.
Of course, so that helps you remember it.
Yes, yeah.
Well, please thank our interviewee, Francis Dennis Aloysius Manion.
Okay, you're going to have to do that one again. Dennis Francis.
Dennis Francis. Apologies.
Do it again, because
All right.
you're going to lose it.
Please thank our interviewee, Dennis Francis Aloysius Manion.
There you go.